Welcome to Growing the Divine. Life is a journey, and the title says it all. These episodes were filmed during times when I was processing. And you will see as you listen that there are definitely things that I changed my mind about the more that I reflected. Quite a few of my views in earlier episodes, no, most of my views in earlier episodes were influenced by my upbringing, guilt, morals related to Christianity and religion in order to control. So things that I express at the beginning of this podcast aren't necessarily the ones that I hold now. But that's the point. We're growing the divine. We are seeing exactly how we change and how we grow and how that's better for us. And that's beautiful. As always, these episodes are either from personal experience 95% of the time, and the other 5% are conversations I've had with people or conversations I've seen on social media. Let's talk about accountability. And accountability is a broad term. Accountability in the way that we need to accept that sometimes we do harm to people, no matter what our intentions are. Accountability in the sense that sometimes we allow people to disrespect us because we don't respect ourselves, because we have been usually taught to allow people to disrespect us and to ignore our boundaries, our intuition from childbirth, from toddler age, because adults feel like children are something that they can move and maneuver and things that they can own and tell exactly what to do, no matter how uncomfortable it makes their child. So we tend to grow up with this same mindset. We tend to grow up stuck and allowing certain things to happen to us because our boundaries were pushed and ignored from a young age. I just recently got out of a situation, and I won't name any names or give any details, but it was a off and on 10-year relationship with someone that I consider to be very close to me, and we definitely were trauma bonded. Trauma bonding happens more often than people think. Let's look up the actual definition. Trauma bonding, according to Medical News Today, trauma bonding is a psychological response to abuse. It occurs when the abused person forms an unhealthy bond with the person that abuses them. The person experiencing abuse may develop sympathy for the abusive person, which becomes reinforced by cycles of abuse followed by remorse. But you can also trauma bond with people who have similar experiences and abusive experiences that you have. It can happen in friendships. It can happen in mentorships, jobs, romantic relationships, things like that. And I met this person in high school. It was like in tail of my senior year. And they were very much there for me. They were exactly what I needed when I met them. And I'm not going to lie, through our history, I definitely picked them up and put them down whenever I needed it. And that was wrong of me. Didn't realize that was wrong with me. But that was definitely wrong of me. They also would allow me to come back with open arms whenever I needed them. And I also think it's because they needed me as well. We had crazy chemistry. And I consider them to be my best friend. I still do. Did. Where I had to realize I took accountability. I had to take accountability was when right after my mother passed. She passed in 2018, and me and this person were broken up at the time, and they immediately rushed to my side. It had been about 8 years. Yeah, it had been knowing them 8 years. And they had been there through everything with me. So they moved in with me to help me through a lot of the grief. And it helped, but it also hurt a lot because they weren't healed from their childhood trauma. So my grief and not giving them affection that they wanted, they took personally. And that was the worst situation that either one of us could have been in. It helped because they helped to get my mind off of the grief to a certain degree. But on the flip side, it was very toxic because of all of the hurt that was circulated in one small space. We got the yelling. And I got tired of the yelling because I grew up in a household that did a lot of yelling. I grew up in a family that did a lot of yelling because we didn't feel like we were being heard for various different reasons. But I eventually got tired of that. The ironic part about it is, I think they grew up in a family that did yelling, a lot of yelling and over talking each other. And once I stopped yelling, they stopped thinking that I cared about them. I just got tired of the yelling. I was exhausted. And I also saw how much it really was not doing them any good. Even though they thought that type of arguing and back and forth was me showing how much that I love them, it was toxic. We weren't toxic, but our trauma and how we dealt with situations were. Once I realized how much that was hurting them, I realized I had to figure out how to change. You can't undo the hurt that you caused someone. That's literally impossible. But it's also not right for someone who you hurt to continue to hold that hurt over you. It often comes from, you can't rush the healing process of anything, but that also comes from someone who has yet to not let go. I don't like that terminology. I don't like that phrase, but someone who has started to work through and process the hurt that they've experienced. You can't force that. I realized that I had changed when I would say, you know what? I feel myself getting upset. Can we come back and talk about this in a little bit? I just need a few minutes to calm down because I don't want to get to yelling. They would throw a fit and tell me no. So I would then shut down because I refuse to yell. I have no desire to do that anymore. That type of arguing takes a lot out of you. It's exhausting. And I realized why so many of my family members were always so angry, because they would always, either they would tune out the conversation altogether and pretend it didn't happen, or they would get to yelling and screaming and hollering and harboring all of this hurt instead of talking things out. I did not want that for me anymore. And this person was still stuck in that mindset. So they would go off and say, oh, you don't care about me and this, that, and the third. And it was a really bad off and on breakup. But it came to a head earlier this year. And we have not talked. And it's been a while. I accepted that I could not undo the hurt that I did to this person. I could never do that. But a relationship cannot grow and there's no blueprint for how to work through your hurt and trauma. There's no one size fit all. I used to hate when people would say, you got to forgive people, you got to do this, but no one really knew how. I knew what was wrong with me. I've always been very perceptive of why I was the way that I was. But no one could tell me how to work through the shit that I had gone through. And I realized that most of the people who would tell me you need to forgive and do X, Y, and Z hadn't quite figured out and worked through their shit either. They thought that by saying that it happened, but pretending that they still weren't bothered, pretending that they weren't still bothered by it, that's how they coped. That's not healing. That's ignoring because you don't want to feel the hurt. I still feel hurt by things that have happened to me, but I accept it. If I feel like crying about it, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to cry about it. Cry about it, reassure myself that I am no longer in that space. Those people cannot cause me harm. And then go down a list of all of the things that I have done where I am mentally, just to make sure and check in with myself. That's just how I do it. Sometimes hurt won't ever leave you. You know, you might feel a little twinge. It might hurt a little less, but you might still be bothered by your trauma. This person knew. I have no tolerance for people calling me outside of my name. I have no tolerance for certain things like that. You disrespect me, to me, that's hurt. If you disrespect me, that's hurt. I don't have to say it because it goes both ways for me. To hurt me is to disrespect me. And I don't get disrespected or hurt very often. The first sign that I could tell someone is going to disrespect me, I'm out. I'm ghost. People used to always say, "Oh, you let go of people so fast." Yes, because my boundaries are firm. I'm not. Fuck me over once, shame on me. I mean, shame on you. Fuck me over twice, shame on me. I'm out. So at the first hint of you crossing my boundaries, especially when you already know what my boundaries are, oh, I'm getting the fuck. There's no conversation because I already told you. So this person, as stressed before, you can never take away the hurt that you cause someone. The in and out, the telling this person that, because we were never officially in a relationship until about 2016-ish, 2015-ish. But we were friends with benefits, let's be honest. But it went a lot deeper than that because we had gone through so much. But I would get into a relationship and tell this person that, well, I'm with her now. And then I would come back and they would let me in with open arms. And that was, like I said before, that was very wrong on my part. There might be some people that might click off of this. But where the accountability comes in, sometimes we allow people to hurt us because we lack boundaries. Sometimes we allow people to hurt us because we don't have any self-respect for ourselves. And I say ourselves and we because I've done it too. I was in an abusive relationship for 2 long years. And it was right after I had gone through some shit. And I allowed that person to constantly talk to me crazy. Talk down to me and cross boundaries. They knew what I had gone through. And they would bit by bit throw it in my face. And I allowed that to happen. Knew it felt like shit. Kept it to myself and it ate away at me. It wasn't until I was like, nah, fuck that. I literally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was fed the fuck up. And I said, you know what? Fuck you. But I didn't disrespect the person. I definitely called him out. Well, I mean, it's fuck disrespect when somebody's verbally abusing you. But I definitely called them out. But I also cut them off. Once I realized that I deserve better. And if they weren't going to treat me with respect, I'm going to get the fuck. And this person, where the fuck-uppery comes in is when someone has changed and they've changed their behavior and you still can't see past the hurt, there might be time for you to let that person go. I know for a fact that I am a completely different person than I was even last year. Hell, even at the beginning of this year. So it's not right or fair to me or for me to allow this person to continue to put me into a box when I know that's not who I am anymore. You may still very well be hurt, but that hurt has nothing to do with the person that changed, and that's fucked up. It is fucked up. Like, how dare you change and I'm still hurting? It is messed up when you think about it. But then the healing is on you from that point on. I recently got in contact, like all of my exes came back this year. Like the pandemic, the panorama made everybody start missing your girl. Like everybody. I mean, everybody. And an ex, a verbally abusive ex of mine reached out to me via email, very old school, because I had her blocked on everything. And Spirit told me to Google her. I didn't respond to her. She was like, oh, I want to see how you're doing. I know your mom passed and X blah, blah, blah. This person is 3 years older than me. So they're like in their early 30s right now. And the very things that she used to rag on me about, the very things that she talked shit about when it came to me or looked down on me about, she's doing right now. And I laughed. When I tell you, I cackled so loud for a good 10 minutes. I talked to my cousin and told them about the situation. They were like, so the whole time she was projecting. The things that you were unapologetic about, she shamed you because she was projecting. And so I was curious. I didn't tell her that I knew what she had been up to. Because that was just for, I think Spirit told me to look into her because that was just for my, own information, whatever the word is. But, so I emailed her. I was like, yeah, you can, call me. Let's see. I was just curious to see how the conversation was going to go. And she texted me and immediately went into what was going on with her. Then asked me how I was doing. Essentially nothing changed. Immediately wanted me to see what happened to her. Like, look, and those type of people, I can't stand. So I didn't respond. And like 3 days went by and not once did she ask how I was doing. So I said, you know what? I can see that you haven't changed. You're still the same selfish, self-centered person that you were 5 years ago. And that's crazy. So I said, I wish you and your family well, but I can't do this. And I blocked her. But it was very reaffirming. That's the word I was looking for. It was very reaffirming to me to know that you didn't reach out to me genuinely because you changed. I've had a few people reach out to me and they had changed. I could tell that they had changed. My current best friend and I had fell out and we came back together because I could see that she had changed. If I'm not hurt by you anymore, and I'm no longer hurt by my ex, I'm not. I'm very much over it. I won't forget, but I'm not hurt by it. It breezes past me now. But if I see that you are still the same person, why am I going to continue to allow you to be in my life? I had somebody else reach out to me and I could tell that they had changed by how they were talking, what they were talking about. So I said, sure, let's tiptoe into maybe a new friendship because I missed their presence. But I'm not going to lord that hurt that they did to me over their heads. If I am still hurt by it, why would I then go and allow them to come back into my life? If I don't trust them, why am I going to go ahead and allow them to continue to come back into my life? I love myself way too much to allow that to happen. And that's where the accountability comes in. A lot of people cry, oh, victim blaming. Some situations people do blame the victim. But once you know better, you are no longer a victim. Once you know better and you do better, you do better. And unless you are financially dependent on a person, I put those situations aside because they're abusive in their own way. It takes planning and chess moves to get out of those situations. So I would never put the blame on the person going through financial abuse. But once you're in a situation and you realize you deserve better and you ain't gotta take the shit that the person is giving to you, why then stay? Why then allow them to stay there? If someone has changed and you are still hurt by what they did, and you have every right to be, because you have yet to process it and heal from it. No one can rush that for you. But it's not right for you to continue to put that hurt onto that person when they have actually changed. And you've acknowledged that they've changed. Snoop from the actress Snoop from The Wire, she was on Love and Hip Hop with her girlfriend, and her girlfriend didn't have had trust issues, and she fed a girl a strawberry on like a sex radio show, but it was a podcast as well. It was like they filmed it, and she knew that she would be watching. The girl never once said, "Oh, these are my boundaries." She just said cheating where it was her boundary, and she was promoting like a drink or something, and that was a part of the whole thing, and the girl like went ballistic. And so she was like, you're right, I apologize, that was something that I didn't think would hurt you, and I do apologize. So she was like, I would never cheat on you, that's not something I would do, and then I knew you'd be watching, so it was for the cameras, it wasn't for blah blah blah. So time went on, and the girl never trusted her again. I don't know the time frame of when this happened. I think it may have just been a few weeks. I don't think it was that long in between. And so Snoop had to look at her and be like, I can't undo what I did to you. And you're still hurt by it. So I'm going to have to let you go. And if you know Love and Hip Hop, you know how emotionally immature every last one of them motherfuckers are. The fact that came from a lesbian woman, the fact that she said that, and I wonder how many people watching that actually grasped onto that. This was a few years ago. The girl, of course, went off because how dare you break up with me? But I think I saw it in her face that something clicked. Like, I'm not going to continue to apologize for hurting you, especially with the changed behavior. But also, I'm not going to do it again, and I meant the apology. I can't take that hurt away from you, so I'm going to have to let you go so that you can heal from that. That was like, that was the last episode I ever watched of Love and Hip Hop, because I can't do that toxic trash TV 24/7. I can't do that. But that was really like mind-boggling to me. And like that, like mind, like changing. Like I'm scratching my head because I'm trying to find the right word to describe. I was like, whoa. And it shouldn't have been so revolutionary, but the fact that so many people continue to apologize for shit that they haven't done since the initial hurt, and shit that they apologized for or changed their behavior for, it's not right. So I had to take accountability for with this person. It was like, I could tell that you're still hurt by what I did, so I'm gonna have to let you go. And then on top of that, they disrespect me for past hurt. They hurt me for the hurt that I did in the past. Like, I keep people around who are attempting to heal from their trauma. You don't have to be perfect because everybody has their own process. But if you're showing me that you're starting to take accountability for some of the things that you allowed to happen in your life, and also are processing that you deserve to be free to a certain degree of that hurt that you experienced, you can stay. Shantae, you stay. But if you refuse to hold yourself accountable for the healing that you deserve to go through, and you continue to put that, it's not your fault what happened to you. Like I used to tell myself, it's not my fault what happened to me. It continues to be my fault if I can't process it and start the healing process. If I stay stuck in that hurt, my life will not go anywhere. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired when I was going through so much grief and hurt. I literally cried out to Spirit, I don't want to do this anymore. How can I get out of this? Please show me a way. I didn't know who I was talking to. Please, ancestor, spirit, God, whatever. Please show me a way to get the fuck up out of this, because this feeling here, I no longer want to experience. I want peace and I want to be happy. And I don't know if it was spirit or what, but I immediately got online like a few hours later and started searching how to forgive, how to heal. And I started finding people of, telling you to journal and write down your feelings, write down what happened, and telling yourself you didn't deserve it. That was like a start to journal my feelings and my emotions and stuff. And once I started to get out of that, get that out, I started to write what I deserve, what I wanted to experience, how I wanted to wake up. Writing down everything that I was grateful for, the things that I saw that I, being in a different place from where I was before, and being grateful that I was no longer in that place. And that was the starting point. We have to take accountability for our own lives. Some things we do allow to happen. Some things we allow to happen because we don't want to realize that we are in more control of our own lives than we realize. And that was my hardest thing. Some things I did allow to happen, and I didn't want to take accountability for my own actions and the shit that I didn't do. I have ADHD, depression, everything else like that. But where I take accountability with that is, how can I work and live with it for my own brain? Not looking at what everybody else do, because your wiring is not my wiring. But how can I, the best of my abilities, work with how my brain works? And ever since I started doing that, acknowledging when I'm about to, asking spirit to allow me to be more aware of when I was going off and, the ADHD was setting in, so that I could pull myself back in. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And I just let my brain run when it doesn't happen, because that means my brain wants to do something else. And when I don't fight it, try to make myself like everybody else, when I allow my brain to run ADHD, once that's done, I can come back and do whatever it is I'm supposed to do, trying to figure out how to live how my brain wants to live. And that's me holding accountability for myself. We can't change the hurt that people caused us. But we can decide and try to figure out how we can live with that hurt and not let it completely fuck up our lives. That's where the accountability comes in when it comes to us. And a lot of people are starting to figure that out and realize that everybody has their own journey, so you can't rush it. But when you figure it out, when you realize you deserve a better life, when you realize that you deserve better and have more self-respect for yourself, it's so fucking powerful. You take your power back because you won't allow anyone to hold you down or hold you back from what you deserve. Ooh, oh, bashata. Oh my God, almost 30 minutes. That was on my spirit, on my heart. Like it really was. I feel so much lighter. Sometimes you also have to talk it out. I used to record myself in my, the arguments I wanted to have with people and play it back to get it out. Because I didn't want to argue with them, but it was still on my spirit. I used to do that, and that's why I have podcasts now. But anyways, that was Sunday's sermon. think I might upload that today, even though I normally upload my podcast on Tuesday or Thursday, but I can upload it whenever the fuck I want to, right? Right.